Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori with the news. A 62.1 billion naira HIV Trust Fund of Nigeria has been launched by President Muhammadu Buhari. He said the initiative is in furtherance of his administration's efforts at prioritizing desired interventions towards addressing killer diseases and public health emergencies. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Recommended by the National Agency for the Control of AIDS and driven by the Nigeria Business Coalition Against AIDS, the HIV Trust Fund is a sustainable financing mechanism for the mobilization and deployment of domestic resources towards addressing the prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV in Nigeria. Records show that Nigeria has the highest number of HIV new infections amongst children globally, as the country accounts for 1 out of every 7 children born with the disease.
Under my care, I have 87 positive pregnant women. The whole of them gave birth to their babies, and the babies are all negative. Elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV is possible, and together we can do that.
Today's launch of the Trust Fund will serve to guarantee funding from the private sector-led resources for HIV interventions, especially for the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
All Nigerians depend on us for a future without HIV. I call on all of you to support the Trust Fund and to eliminate HIV from our society.
President Muhammadu Buhari described strong domestic resource mobilization through an enduring partnership and shared responsibility as critical towards sustaining the response to HIV and other emerging public health emergencies.
Ending AIDS as a public health threat in Nigeria will require increased domestic funding. We have continued to make good our commitment of placing more people living with HIV on treatment annually using national resources. Our partnership with the private sector in our response to coronavirus pandemic provide a readily available financing solution that we can leverage on to sustain the HIV response.
The President commended the National Agency for the Control of AIDS and the Nigeria Business Coalition Against AIDS for their efforts at establishing the Trust Fund towards securing a generation of babies free of HIV.
Going forward, I hope the HIV Trust Fund of Nigeria will galvanize more of the private sector and others to surpass the target of 62 billion naira in the next 5 years.
Apart from the pledges made by representatives of the business community in support of the fund, there were also goodwill messages from the UNAIDS and the Global Fund.
I urge all of you gathered here today to ensure these efforts are fully resourced and operationalized. These Nigerians will need treatment for life. We cannot let them down.
At the remarkable event, speakers poured encomiums on the Buhari presidency for identifying and placing on treatment additional 900,000 people living with HIV in Nigeria in the last 3 years. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has again promised to do whatever it takes within the last lap of his administration towards bequeathing our united, peaceful and prosperous nation to the next administration. Speaking at a dinner organized in honor of the 2022 committee, the president also stated his commitment to leaving a legacy of a strong agriculture-led and diversified homegrown economy. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo once again reports.
The 2022 committee is made up of, amongst others, governors, elder statesmen, captains of industry, political class, technocrats, security experts, and members of the civil society. It was convened to chart a supportive course towards addressing Nigeria's fundamental problems associated with security, economy, and polity as the nation approaches another electoral process and indeed transition.
This is a time to defend the national interest. And the 2022 committee is put together to do just that, defend Nigeria at a time of crisis and at a time of transition.
Mr. President, this committee wants to take advantage of your consistent leadership, relentless passion and patriotism to figure out how to accelerate things and ensure that the transition is seamless in a manner that can build on the gains that we have made in the course of your time in office.
President Muhammadu Buhari described as pleasing that the Nigerian elites are now working together towards building a better Nigeria. He said he feels heartened that a more collaborative social enterprise model for resolving Nigeria's common challenges is being forged, saying this is the kind of spirit he always advocated towards achieving a peaceful, secure, and prosperous nation.
This initiative you have taken is very good. I wish you had taken it much earlier.
The president expressed his administration's resolve to remain focused on the fight against all forms of insecurity, corruption, and poverty towards finishing strong in the next 14 months, as well as achieving an all-inclusive economic opportunity for all Nigerians.
Those resources we had, if we had invested in agriculture, there wouldn't have been any need for fighting for oil.
President Buhari advised politicians amongst the committee members to look beyond gaining political power to how they can leverage public positions in the process of societal change, while businessmen and women should effectively utilize the nation's business endowment for the greater good of the country. He said everyone must champion the idea of a Nigeria where every citizen would be proud to call their own. The president used the opportunity to respond to concerns raised on the resurgence of military takeover of power in some West African countries.
Nigeria is equal to the rest of ECOWAS put together. We have gone through that. We have passed that stage for good.
President Buhari looks forward to receiving the outcome of the committee's next interactive session slated for Lagos in the coming days. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The National Coordinator, Baba Buhari for All, Aminu Sani Jadi, says in spite of the security challenges in some parts of the country, the APC-led government has created a path for sustainable growth and development in the nation. Salih Guanara reports that this was at a media briefing in Abuja.
Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Aminu Jaji, says that governance is a collective responsibility, hence the need for party faithful to remain focused in propagating the enduring progressive ideology at all times. Government efforts in the fight against criminality, APC's stride to a national convention were among issues that got reaction during the interface.
What down the tension of insecurity is welfare. This administration, they did their best because their welfare package, I don't think there is any administration that we witness that has welfare package like this one. It is the right time because we're in a political year, 2022, any time when it is transition period, you know that definitely the polity is going to be topped. You know, it's not even for the party to take decision on any aspiration, being it a governor or a president. Let the aspirant decide on what to do.
He expressed the political philosophy that political powers belong to the people who determine who and how they are governed. Salih Guanara, NTA News.
Northern traditional rulers across the 19 states of the country are currently meeting to discuss burning issues affecting parts of the region with defined line of agenda on security, economy and social well-being of the political zones of the country. The meeting, which is presided over by the Sultan of Sokoto Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, also had in attendance the Chairman Northern Governors Forum and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Bakulalong, Comptroller General of Customs Hamid Ali, former Chief of Army Staff General Martin Luther Agwai, and the former Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar. Far-reaching resolutions on a number of issues bedeviling the region are being expected at the end of the engagement. In a bit of political matters now, the boot camp will not participate in the Ekiti governorship election because INEC was not notified on the venue of its primary. INEC chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu stated this in a meeting with security agencies ahead of the FCT and Ekiti state governorship elections. Mia Ogidi reports.
February 1st, Mahmoud's first official handshake, and with security agencies to secure the Federal Capital Territory and Ekiti State for elections. Before getting to the details of the security strategies, a quick check on the INEC register for an update on the party primaries for the June 18th Ekiti governorship election.
From our field report, the Boot Party did not hold its primary election at any venue known to and monitored by the Commission. Consequently, we do not expect the Boot Party to nominate a candidate for the Ekiti State governorship election.
Boot Party will not be at the polling booths. That aside, February 12th is for the Federal Capital Territory Area Council polls, the FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner and the Commissioner of Police seated to brief the Security Committee on arrangements. But yours truly and his colleagues are not part of that segment of the meeting. But INEC chairman's remarks give a hint to the content expected at the closed-door session.
The Commission focused on threats to specific geographical locations, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, the issue of hard drugs, presence of insurgents and armed groups, intra- and inter-party conflicts, and incidents of hate speech.
So, if these issues are addressed, then February 12th will serve as a date of delivery for new set of area council executives in the Federal Capital Territory. Mia Ogidi, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Adiola in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Elizabeth. Poverty and unemployment, experts say, are factors that promote money politics and thuggery in Nigeria. As the nation prepares for another round of election, how can these familiar evils be addressed? Let's find out from this report. Political thuggery in Nigeria dates back to the 1959 general elections. Sadly, this has become the pattern in the nation's electoral processes. Experts are of the opinion that recurrent violence is devastating to the nation's democratic process as hired political thugs continue to victimize, terrorize, intimidate, and dehumanize individuals and politicians who mostly end up not actualizing their franchise or mandate.
So we don't need them, they're not useful, and they had no value to political settings that we are setting up.
What is responsible for this anomaly and how can the Constitution correct it?
The Electoral Act, the punishment runs between 6 months to 3 years, or options of fine between 100,000 naira and 1 million naira. Most times after the election, we discover that there are a lot of arms in the hands of individuals. The crime rate will definitely increase, even post the elections.
As the 2023 election approaches, how can the trajectory be altered?
When the incentive for winning elections is made, is de-emphasized, the urge to carry out violence to achieve political office will also reduce.
However, studies have recommended stringent punishment for thugs and their sponsors, regardless of political affiliations, as well as widespread sensitization and awareness campaigns for Nigerians aimed at cancelling political thuggery. Many also believe that if the public shuns violence, even unpopular parties and their candidates will be given a level playing ground in Nigeria's political landscape. And large amount of water hyacinth is clogging major waterways in Lagos. Both operators and other users of water channels are raising concerns over the effect of the infestation of their activities. Abalade Salami is standing by to tell us more about the fast-growing invasive aquatic plant and efforts to tackle its menace.
Thank you, Adiola. I'm at the Niwa jetty here in Marina. Well, in the last couple of days, we've noticed the appearance of water hyacinth on the waterways. And you may be wondering, what is this water hyacinth? It is a free-floating tropical plant that comes in its season on the waterways. And when these things appear, it seems as if the plant will just be there, disturbing the operation of some boat operators. Tell us, since you observed the presence of this water hyacinth, has it in any way impacted your business?
When you meet them on the road, on the water, they will be like a grass, so much on the water that you need to look for a way to pass through that very grass. And when it hooks your engine, you may either make it, make it so be very hot, like overheating, and it will burn your engine gaskets. And also there are some other things that like the impellers and all that.
But we heard that this is why they come out around November, December. But at the peak of their coming out is usually around December, and when it is January, February, they become a bit green, a bit brownish, they die off.
Unfortunately, this season, this year, it came out with a surprise way that we don't expect on the water. So thank you.
Thank you so much. While this is giving them a bit of concern, the agency that is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring safety on the waterways says it's not relenting to ensure that indeed the waterways is safe for anyone that wants to apply the waterways. It's over to you in the studio.
Thank you, Abolade, and we hope the relevant authorities will quickly expedite action to tackle water hyacinth. Now, a quick reminder is that you can also follow this broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, and our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, while our Instagram is NTA Network for updates. Well, we'll take a short break now. The news will continue thereafter with Elizabeth in Abuja.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Senate is considering a bill that seeks to regulate the mode of payment of rent on residential apartments in the Federal Capital Territory. The bill, sponsored by Senator Smart Adeyemi, seeks to ameliorate the financial burden of paying house rent on residents of the Federal Capital Territory. It proposes that instead of advance rent payment of 1, 2, or 3 years, which encourages corruption, it should be on a monthly basis as it is practiced in other countries. The bill will also provide legal window for the protection of tenants against exploitation by landlords.
Early tenancy has continued to breed corruption, immoral decadence, and huge inequality as low-income earners who cannot afford continually pay their rent engage in measures which are illegal or unlawful.
If this bill is made to come to life, even those who are homeowners, there is no use somebody struggle to pay you the first one and subsequently you are dragging almost every day.
Is whether it is just to ask the clerk of the Senate, whose salary is not up to 800,000 or maybe 400, to pay 2 million at once in advance. Where are you expecting him to get that money?
If government wants to ameliorate the sufferings of the masses, government can go into housing schemes, mortgage schemes, housing credit facilities, not control the business of private individuals. I therefore oppose vigorously this bill.
Those in favor that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives wants the Nigeria Customs Service to pay 20 million naira each as compensation to families of those that lost their lives following alleged shootings by customs operatives in Oyo and Katsina states in 2019. Also to be compensated are those injured during the shootings said to have occurred when operatives of the Nigerian Customs opened fire while in hot pursuit of smugglers. In adopting the recommendations as contained in a report of the Committee on Customs following investigation by the Committee on the said incidents, which occurred in 2019, the House noted that since life cannot be replaced, compensation be awarded in monetary terms. The compensation was put at 20 million naira each to families of each victim, while those wounded in the shooting are to receive 2 million naira each. The total amount for the 14 persons killed and 14 injured is 390 million naira. Let's shift attention to oil and gas. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited is optimistic of leading Africa in energy transition. Chief Executive Officer and Group Managing Director Mele Kyari said this while delivering the 30th Convocation Lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State. A statement by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of the NNPC, Garbadin Mohammed, says Kyari, who spoke on the topic, energy transition and energy accessibility, the new paradigm, advised industrialized nations not to put Africa in the same energy transition speed because it could spark energy crisis that could result to unanticipated collateral damage and deny developing countries access to available and cheaper energy for growth. Explaining the company's strategy for a smooth and realistic energy transition, the CEO said the NNPC Limited has set the necessary machineries in motion to lead Africa in transition to low-carbon energy and renewables. He noted that the company is deepening natural gas utilization under the National Gas Expansion Program. Kyari said as a national oil company and a global player, NNPC is ready to shift to renewable energy. He maintains that oil will retain very much relevance in the global energy mix of today and the future. Now, the introduction of palliatives and autogas as alternative fuel for vehicles and the ongoing rehabilitation of oil refineries by the federal government are part of building blocks to cushion effects of subsidy removal in Nigeria. This was the position of the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timothy Silva, on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, while speaking on issues around fuel subsidy in the country. Thomas Ogbetere reports.
The phrase removal of fuel subsidy is one that has consistently found its way into Nigeria's national discourse. Each time it starts trending, it usually portends a looming crisis among the citizenry. This is because price of fuel inadvertently affect the cost of most items in the country. The Minister of State for Petroleum enjoined Nigerians to understand that removal of fuel subsidy is in the best interest of the country. He also noted that with the emergence of the new Petroleum Industry Act, it was a matter of time before subsidy on petroleum products will be removed, as no refinery can be functional in a subsidy environment.
We agree, all Nigerians, that fuel subsidy entails some hardship for especially the most vulnerable and poor Nigerians. So if you are going to remove subsidy, there are certain things that you need to put in place first. This conversation has been going on with Labour for a long time, and a lot of building blocks are already in place. For example, we agreed that we need to introduce an alternative fuel as well, which in the form of autogas.
Why are we paying for incompetencies of a system? If the government would get out of this area, I can see that many things would be wiped out. So even though one is talking about temporarily having the price shoot up, it'll come down when there's competition. No private person will pay for some of the things that are happening right now.
Guests also expressed optimism that although previous efforts towards revamping refineries in Nigeria did not yield results, by the present administration will tackle all existing issues in due course. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
And just a quick reminder, you can follow us live on our website, nta.nj/live, YouTube, NTA News Online, Facebook, NTA Network News, and Twitter at NTA News Now. And it's time to join Felicia in our Jos studio.
to Jos. Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila says health reform is a cardinal part of their legislative agenda, calling on stakeholders to join forces with the National Assembly to tighten health laws for effective healthcare services. He stated this at the closing of a workshop for health workers in Jos. Abba Abubakar Yakubu reports.
The training was organized for health workers following the need for improvement in healthcare services to patients.
It helps us guide the way we carry on our activities and helps us, in our medical work.
The efforts of the government so far are really helping to curb, activities that are endangering the lives of the citizens.
Speaker, Federal House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says since the inception of the Ninth House, this has been unprecedented interventions in the health sector. The COVID-19, the Speaker noted, triggered interventions with the House of Representatives carried out.
Health reform is a cardinal part of the counterplank of our legislative agenda. And I believe we've been doing all we can in terms of budgeting.
Governor Simon Lalong represented, described the training as educative and will help to eliminate negligence and promote good medical practice.
The Plateau State government, in its effort to rid the state of thuggery and the proliferation of illegal private health training institutions, has approved funds to the Ministry of Health to commence inspection of these illegal outfits.
Other speakers call on the Speaker to sustain the training, describing it as an innovative approach to health issues. In Jos, Abba Abubakar Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, key players in the health sector have been told to strengthen collaboration with stakeholders on ways of eradicating tropical diseases, particularly in rural communities. This was while marking the World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day at Seri, Kanke local government area of Plateau State. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa has details.
Sari village in Kanke local government area of Plateau State has for long grappled with health challenge of river blindness, trachoma and elephantiasis, leading to immeasurable suffering among the people until the intervention by Catcher Center. To mark this year's World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day, which highlights global commitment to ending neglected tropical diseases in the last 35 years, the Carter Center has been working to eradicate diseases such as guinea worm, elephantiasis, river blindness, trachoma, malaria and other diseases aimed at bringing relief to the people, especially rural dwellers. Beneficiaries appreciate the center for restoring their hope with the intervention.
Their intervention has helped to eliminate river blindness and
Carter Center have been helping us in our health centers with medicine and other assistance.
We chose this place because there's Onco has been eliminated from here, LF has been eliminated from here. Malaria, which is not an NTD, is not a neglected tropical disease, but because of integration and because of this, the fact that we use net for both LF and malaria incidence has also reduced here.
Stakeholders call for commitment to achieving health equity to end the neglect of poverty-related diseases. From Sari village of Kanke, Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, NTA News.
Elizabeth, Justice Don is back to you in Abuja for more reports.
Thank you so much, Felicia. And still talking health, stigma and discrimination against persons living with leprosy are major challenges in a fight against the disease in Nigeria. Experts at the 2022 World Tuberculosis Day say leprosy is a medical condition that is curable if detected early. Basi Itaipan takes a look at the significance of the day and the myth surrounding the disease.
Times, leprosy was considered a curse, and patients were often isolated in colonies far from the society. Stakeholders say this is a myth that should be disregarded.
Leprosy
is curable, that's the key message, and that the treatment is free. It is not caused by witchcraft. It is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium leprae.
The annual celebration, therefore, is to create awareness and mobilize support for leprosy control.
A call for one voice to honor the dignity of people who have suffered leprosy by sharing the empowering stories and advocating for mental well-being and a right to a dignified life, free of disease-related stigma and discrimination.
Globally, about 214,000 people are diagnosed of the disease yearly, with 1 in 10 cases being a child. Nigeria, though, attained the WHO elimination target in 1998. It is one of the countries that still reports over 1,000 new cases annually.
And we would like to gradually congratulate Nigeria and celebrate. But even if we celebrate, we need to remember that our target is zero transmission, zero discrimination, and zero disability.
Experts, however, stress the need for early detection and treatment of the disease to avoid the damaging effects on human health. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
Now, that illegal refining of crude oil, particularly known as spot fires, had its toll on the health of Rivers State residents, with the attendant effects of soot for more than half a decade, is certainly not news. What is news now is the political will to put perpetrators out of business is eliciting hope and confidence in the government at the federal and state levels, as Kingsley Amajiri tells us.
Current clampdown on activities of illegal oil refiners in Rivers State followed concern over the suit in Port Harcourt, which is traceable to increasing activities of illegal oil bunkering and refineries.
Why the state government intensifies its fight against illegal oil bunkering and refining activities in Rivers State, the atmosphere is becoming clearer. How has that also impacted on the quality of the air people breathe in the city?
It's reducing as a result of this fight by the government. I want to say that our brothers that are into this business are affected, but they should remember that their life too is at stake here.
I would say our quality of air has improved.
To help disengage those currently involved in illegal oil refining of petroleum products and rechannel their energies to legal venture, the federal government is projecting to establish 18 modular refineries.
I think that this modular refinery is a way to go in order to curb those practices.
Participants to be engaged in the modular refineries are expected to be trained and their activities regulated to conform with industrial best standards. Some experts in the industry want private entrepreneurs to be incorporated with the process liberalized to open up investments in the midstream and downstream sector of the petroleum industry.
And it's time to link up with Mohammed in Maiduguri for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Mohammed.
Elizabeth, thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Irrigation farming has gradually picked up in Ngurosoi of Bama local government area and environs after 7 years of displacement by the Boko Haram insurgency. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum visited the irrigation farms where he had an interface with vegetable farmers. Mohammed Gwani reports.
Ngurosoi and other surrounding agrarian communities in Bama local government were dislodged by the Boko Haram insurgents for over 7 years, thereby halting irrigation farming the area was known for. With the gradual return of peace to most parts of the state, Borno state government saw need to return the people to their communities to pick up the pieces of their lives. But farmers in Ngurosoi, Kajeri and other surrounding communities have returned to their farms even before the communities are resettled. Governor Zulum was impressed with what he saw and restated commitment to supporting the people as part of efforts to resuscitate economic activities of the people.
Few days ago, government of Borno State has provided agricultural input with a view to re-establishing irrigation schemes in the state. You have seen from Kondega up to Bama, Ngurosoi, up to Furigi, people have started farming. Borno State government will do more so that many more farmers will farm, people will be on their own, thereby addressing one of the strongest root causes of the insurgency, which is poverty.
Some farmers who spoke to journalists say they are allowed access to their farms from 11 a.m. to 4 o'clock in the afternoon and appeal to military for more time. The governor had earlier visited irrigation farms in Kandaga town, where he assured to support the people with irrigation kits and inputs such as fertilizers, wash boreholes, and water pumps, among other inputs, to enable them cultivate rice and wheat, directing the community of irrigation farmers in the area. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
National President, Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA, Salamatu Faruk Yahaya, has distributed palliatives and cash assistance to 50 widows of personnel of Operation Hadinkai. The National President of NAOA reached out to the widows during her visit to headquarters Theatre Command Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba reports.
It is helpful to all of us because many of us are not working, but at least it will go a long way.
I'm very happy for what the women do for us. I'm fry akara and train my children to school.
These were testimonies of some widows that benefited from the benevolence. The national president of NAOA, Salamatu Faruk Yahaya, said the association, which is a non-governmental but charitable one, will continue to support women, youths and children.
Apart from giving them relief materials, we also have vocational centers that we use to train them. All those of them that have skills, we're willing to give them equipment or machineries that will help them.
Salamatu Faruk Yahaya commiserated with wounded soldiers receiving treatment at 7th Division Hospital and assured them of the association's commitment to assisting them. NAOA National President and her entourage have also visited Theatre Commander Operation Hadinkai, where she intimated him on activities of the association mainly geared towards championing the cause of women and children, and appreciated the gallantry of the Nigerian Army in its quest to restore peace to the zone. Theatre Commander Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, said commitment and support of the Chief of Army Staff have led to the tremendous successes achieved in the theatre.
We're able to take out a lot of the insurgents this weekend, including the troops on the ground.
General Musa reiterated the command's readiness to end terrorism in the region. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
It's time for another break on Nationwide, which will continue afterwards in Abuja.
Thanks for staying with us. Earlier, we brought you a report on the Northern Traditional Rulers meeting on issues affecting the zone. Abubakar Akwanga has details of the outcome, which focuses on adoption of a clear security roadmap towards salvaging the region from the state of insecurity and other social challenges. We'll bring you details of this report in our subsequent bulletin. Today is World Hijab Day, and women who chose to adorn themselves with the hijab across the globe are advocating for protection and mutual respect among global citizens. Salwa Khalid witnessed the commemoration in Nigeria's capital.
There is a saying that you are addressed as you are dressed. For Aisha and her friends, the hijab defines who they are.
The hijab gives me confidence. It makes me feel comfortable because all those stuffs of body shaming and things like that.
It's really comfortable because you cover your body.
Hijab, an Arabic word for covering, has become a global mode of dressing, especially among Muslim women.
The body is covered, then you are in hijab. There's also your character that comes along with the hijab, lowering your gaze, speaking, saying words that are not provocative.
Wearing the hijab is, however, not without some challenges. At the top of this is discrimination, as noted by some women. This is why the coalition of Nigerian Muslim women are raising awareness for the protection of women who choose to wear the hijab.
Let the world know that adorning the hijab does not hinder the Muslim woman from doing her everyday duties.
All religions preach the issue of decency in dressing, in conduct, because it's the same message.
With the theme, hijab is our crown, not our crime. This group say, dress not to oppress. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
Thank you, Salwa. The National Defense College can only effectively play its role of providing intellectual and research works for the nation's military in the fight against insecurity if there's a great collaboration among the various security agencies. This observation was made at the pulling out parade of the 18th Commandant of the college, Rear Admiral Oladile, in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
It has been 37 years of service to a nation and time to go home and be at civilian side of life. Rear Admiral Oladile Daji, the 18th Commandant of the National Defense College, leaving the military.
The journey over these years have indeed been very eventful and characterized by varied experiences with periods of lows and highs, sadness and joy, but overall, it has been a very satisfying and rewarding one indeed, and I will always cherish my period in active service to the nation.
This brief but symbolic ceremony marks the official pulling out of service of Rear Admiral Oladile Daji. Rear Admiral Oladile Daji is a member of the 36th regular course of the National Defense College.
This is my boy now.
From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Ogun State Command has arrested a couple for allegedly abusing and maltreating a minor and sister-in-law to the husband, Lekun Agbonde reports.
Ogun State Commandant NSCDC Kolawole Taiwo says the command arrested the couple following a distress call by a whistleblower from Okeyidi, Lantoro, Abeokuta, who informed the command about the inhuman treatment which the couple subjected the victim to. He said the command later took the 5-year-old girl to the state hospital Ijaya Abeokuta in collaboration with the State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development for medical attention due to the poor condition they met the child.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ogun State Command, is to protect the rights of all Nigerians. To this end, we charge the general public to be careful of whoever their children live with.
The suspects, Hamed Husseini and Latifat Husseini, alleged that the victim was in the habit of stealing, and so they decided to leave her with a neighbor while they traveled to Igbora for prayers.
She's stealing, the habit of stealing, and she can go to anywhere, and we don't know where about her.
She usually eats other children's food in the class, so we now decided that instead of her doing that and the parents will be complaining, she should stay at home.
Father of the victim, Fadipe Husseini, said he decided to leave the victim Saidat with her sister and her husband for upkeep when his wife, mother of the victim, died a few years ago. In Abeokuta, Lekun Agbonde, NTA News.
Police and the military forces in Zamfara State have rescued 32 kidnapped victims who were held hostage in some parts of the state. 19 of the victims are indigenes of Mariga local government area of Niger State, abducted by a group of terrorists in December 2021 while working in a farmland. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
19 persons comprising 15 men and 4 women who hail from Niger State are the latest batch of the kidnapped victims rescued by the security operatives. Spokesman of the Zamfara State Police Command, Superintendent of Police Shehu Muhammad, who displayed the rescued persons to newsmen at the command headquarters Gusau, said they were rescued by the military operatives along Dansado axis in Moru local government area of the state.
They were abducted while working at their farmlands by armed bandits at Rwanda, a Mariga local government area of Niger State, and then brought them to a forest in Ansado axis where they spent about 2 months in captivity.
SP Muhammad revealed that the police tactical operatives deployed along Mad axis in Gusau local government area of Zamfara State rescued 10 other kidnapped victims who were abducted along Sheme Fonto Road in Katsina State on 10th January 2022. The victims, who hail from Borno Magaji local government area of Zamfara State, were kidnapped while traveling from Lagos to their hometown. Other rescued kidnapped victims are 3 persons abducted abducted by terrorists along Sheme-Fontuo Road on 30th January 2022. Two of the kidnapped victims hail from Kaduna State, while the other one is an indigene of Kebbi State. Zamfara State Police Command says all the rescued kidnapped victims had been medically checked and debriefed, as 13 of them have been reunited with their families. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Next is sports updates.